Good morning, everybody. It is 10 a.m. and welcome to the City of Sky Valley Regular Council meeting for Tuesday, April 21st. I hereby call this meeting to order. Welcome you all. I would ask. I'm sorry. Yes, that our council president, Beth Pence, deliver the invocation on behalf of the City Council.
Thank you. Bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this good city, for its volunteers, its residents, its employees. And Lord, we ask for rain for our community as it's much needed in our community and surrounding communities. We ask for prayers for collaboration, mutual respect, and the ability for us to work together today as we go through and about the city's business. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. As you stand, the flag is that way next to you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the approval of minutes. And as you know, we have 3 sets of minutes from March 17th, March 23rd, which was the council work session and planning retreat, and March 26th, which was the special called council meeting. Have you all had an opportunity to look at the minutes?
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve all 3 together?
I move we approve all 3 together.
Is there any?
And I would thank Summer for her intensive notes of our workshop. I found that very helpful to review those.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to Summer.
Second.
A second by the council member Beth Pence. Is there any discussion? Any amendments? There being none, do we have a motion? I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And the minutes are approved for all 3 meetings. Do I have a motion to approve the adoption of today's agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Any amendments? There being no amendments or a discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, and the agenda is approved. All right, so number 5, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting today, is the public forum and general comments. Any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda as a public hearing may speak to the council for a maximum of 5 minutes. The speaker must identify by name. You are not required to reveal your address. And that has been in effect since our first meeting, because there were some members who were concerned that they might be doxxed, if you know what that means, and it's a legitimate concern. So of course, no formal action can be taken. So if there is anybody who wishes to make a public comment, please stand and come to the microphone and identify yourself. Thank you.
John Smith, 193.
You can lift it up a little. There you go.
193 Pleasant Mountain Drive. I have a statement here that my mom prepared that she'd like me to read, but I want to note I think this echoes not just mine and my family's sentiments, but the citizens of Sky Valley, and many of those outside of Sky Valley that have let their voices already be heard on this matter.
If you would, please, mention your mom's name for the record.
Jerry Smith.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'm here because on May 8th, the heart of Sky Valley, Mud Creek Falls and the Overlook is scheduled to be stolen from the public. I'm here to tell you that legally, that cannot happen. In the formal protest I filed this morning, I highlight a critical gap in the history of this property that the 2016 lease completely ignored. Between the resort's founding in 1968 and the Merrill Trust purchase in 2004, there was a 36-year period of open, continuous, and adverse public use. Under Georgia law, specifically OCGA 44-5-163, a prescriptive right is perfected after 20 years. That means by 1988, the public's right to these landmarks was already a done deal. It was a vested property right that runs with the land. When Merrill Trust bought this property out of the Miles Mason bankruptcy in 2004, they bought it subject to the public's existing rights. You cannot buy a piece of land and then cancel a public easement that has been there for nearly 40 years. Furthermore, I want to address the 2016 lease. If the public already owned a permanent prescriptive right to those trails and falls, then that 2016 lease is legally void. A city council does not have the power to rent something that already belongs to its citizens. That is an ultra vires act and a gift of public funds to a private entity for a right they didn't even own. We're not asking for a favor. We're asserting a legal right. The public used these sites through decades of resort ownership, through a federal Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and through years of bank foreclosure without a single lease or gate inside. Council, you have until May 8th. I'm asking for you to stand up for the citizens of Sky Valley and Raven County. Do not treat our natural heritage as a bargaining chip for Merrill's urban village. I demand the city pass a resolution declaring the 2016 lease void as an ultra vires act of the former mayor and city council. And if it becomes necessary to initiate a quiet title action to affirm what we already know. Mud Creek Falls belongs to the public and it has since 1988. Thank you. Jerry Smith, 193 Pleasant Mountain Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Is there anyone else who wishes to make a public comment?
Steve Mason.
Please stand up so that everybody can see you over at the, on Zoom and hear you as well. Thank you.
Just a point of order, it's a moot point because the lease has already been canceled.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a comment?
Barbara Kobacker. Who paid the taxes on this land all these years?
Thank you, Ms. Kobacker. Is there anyone else who wishes to make a comment?
I hope that we learn today or soon what the council's response to this retribution from Harrison Merrill will be. And I hope they will entertain perhaps some negotiation where we will have access again, or perhaps even buy this gem, much ballyhooed, much photographed, mini gems, the waterfall et cetera, from them. Obviously not everything, but just the ones that are in our hearts and in our photographs of Sky Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McNaughton. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a public comment at this time? Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to make a public comment at this time?
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Mayor Herschel. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I am,
Michelle,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, correct. I was repeating your name. Go ahead, Michelle. Thank you.
So I am also speaking to Merrill Trust, their recent antics. And my suggestion is that there is no need for the council to react at this time, but there is a need to get prepared for the future. Property law is very complex. We dreaded it in law school, I can tell you that. You have common law, you have federal, state, local laws, and of course you have your privilege of your property rights. I suggest that you get in touch with the Georgia Municipal Association, which is the association of all the cities in Georgia. They provide legal advocacy programs that help all the cities will be united as one instead of one small voice like Sky Valley. If it is a case that affects other cities, the association will provide as much information as they can to you. And you know, any outcome of this situation could have a major significance to cities statewide. So I looked it up. Sky Valley is a member of this association. Take advantage of their expertise. I would suggest that you call somebody and meet with them. And when I say meet with them, I suggest Jason and maybe someone from his staff and the city attorney meet with them to discuss this situation. Other than that, I just want to say that, you know, our inspector can do routine checks like he always does of buildings in Sky Valley, and there's nothing to prevent him from, you know, looking at the ski lodge, and if he finds serious code violations, to send that notice to the Merrill Trust, and they must repair them. And if they don't, then there may be further action. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Herschel. Is there anybody else who wishes to make a public comment today? Anybody else on Zoom who wishes to make a public comment today? Right. Moving on to number 6 on the agenda, which is the mayoral and council remarks, and the mayor will go first. And before I begin with the point I'd like to make, I want to take a moment to highlight the strides we've made in the city towards greater transparency and community engagement. We've held our first evening city council meeting to make participation more accessible. We conducted our first planning retreat just up the road at the Scaly Mountains, the Sky Valley Scaly Mountain, let me get that right, Fire and Rescue Department. And thank you, Chief Ken Ziegler, for your hospitality. We look forward to having more there. It was accessible to the community for the first time. Usually they are held, well, in the past, they've been held up in Gainesville. And that session was live streamed, so everybody could follow along. And it is now on YouTube if you want to go back and see what we discussed at the planning retreat. We're working on a community directory to better connect residents and property owners. Police Chief Ron Balmas and I have hosted 2 morning coffees with citizens, and they were well attended, and it was a great time had by all. And this afternoon, we'll have the first meeting of the last of the advisory committees I established, and that is the Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee. You may remember around this time last year, we were dealing with wildfires. And again, we have a drought this year. So the meeting, chaired by Councilmember Tony Allred, will be very timely. And that means now that all of our committees are up and running. As we look ahead, I expect the committees to unite to recruit the volunteers that we will need to help us put on the best 4th of July celebration yet. I'm sure, as you know, that the Merrill Trust announcement will require some workarounds for the city going forward. So all these steps were part of my campaign, the transparency, the consistency, the integrity, the communication, and I know that the entire city council supports this. We're working to keep our city open, we're working to keep it accessible, and we're working to keep it engaged. This month also marks a personal milestone for me. I came here 40 years ago this month, and I left South Africa, and it was an oppressive government that ruled through apartheid, and I didn't have a voice, no vote, and no future. All of this limited by law. And I came to the United States seeking something simple but profound, the freedom for my family. And now, as we approach this nation's 250th anniversary, I find myself reflecting on what that freedom really means. And it means that I can stand here today, not just as a citizen, but as your mayor. It means that all of us in this room and in the city, whether we agree or we disagree, we can speak openly. We can question decisions and we can hold our leaders accountable. And yes, it means that those of us in public office will face criticism and critique. Sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it's unfair, and sometimes it's personal. But let me say this clearly, that criticism is not a burden. It is the privilege of living in a free society. Because in much of the world, criticism of government is not met with debate, it's met with consequences. And the countries we're hearing about now, Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, and Afghanistan, people face arrest, they face imprisonment, torture, execution, just for speaking out. So when the voices are raised in Sky Valley, yeah, when people challenge decisions and when they demand answers, that isn't a sign of something broken. That's just the sound of freedom. It's a small price to pay for the responsibility we carry and for the system that those of us here sitting in front of you are fortunate to serve. And as we celebrate 250 years of this nation, I don't take any of it for granted because I have lived in a place where freedom didn't exist for me. And I know the difference. And here in Georgia's highest and coolest city, we will continue to be a place where voices are heard, where people are respected, and where freedom isn't just celebrated, it's practiced every day. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say this to you all. And I will start with Council Member Jim Curtis for council comments.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing your interest in the matters of the city. Concerning the issue that I think is foremost on your minds, the Merrill situation, I have given my advice and suggestions to the mayor privately in a conversation last week. And I believe we are going to be going into an executive session to discuss some legal matters and some property issues. And I'm going to reserve further comments until that time. I also notice in the audience an old friend, Kristen Watley. For those of you who don't know her and perhaps didn't know her husband, David. David, I think, was perhaps the finest councilman that we've ever elected. He had some natural advantages, a little head start. He was a lawyer. He was a gentleman. He had principles. He had his own set of beliefs as well. And I observed him in council, and a lot of times we all give our opinions first, and then we discuss it, and maybe we can come to a compromise. Well, David had the sense of when he didn't have to say anything about his position, that he could have a sense of what the pros and the cons were, and could form a vision of where we were going to end up after all this discussion. He could go straight to the heart of the matter and make a proposal that was in the public interest and it could be achievable as well. And I think my admiration for David was probably the first time I ever thought that I might someday sit on council. So I just wanted to share that with the folks that perhaps didn't know you or David.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
He loved you too.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councillor Beasley, newbie forever.
Good morning, Sky Valley. It's a beautiful day in Sky Valley. I want to thank all of you that have reached out via email and phone and text. The positive and appropriate way to engage and enter into the conversation. So I really appreciate that. It was overwhelmingly positive, which was refreshing. So I want to thank you, and I thank you for all those courageous people that are willing to stand up and share their opinion in that positive and reflective and cooperative and collaborative way. We live in a beautiful place, and we are truly blessed by God.
Thank you, Councillor Beasley, and Councillor Price.
I don't have anything prepared to say. Just thank you all for being here. Thank you for being engaged, involved. The more emails and calls we get, it does help, negative and positive. I mean, I'm down to hear all of it. I'm excited to hear all of it. I appreciate you guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Council President Beth Pence.
Thank you. Thank you for all being here. We appreciate it. I appreciated your comments, Mayor, about criticism not being a burden, but a privilege for us to serve and to hear and to listen. So thank you for being here.
Councillor Allred.
Okay, to add much to all of that, that was very nice. I just confirmed that we appreciate your participation, and we look forward to a beautiful summer here in Sky Valley.
Thank you. Moving on to number 7 on the agenda, the city manager's report. And Mr. Streetman, I do understand we have 2 letters that have been requested to be read into the record, and I would ask that you do that first.
Okay.
If you would do it close to the mic so everybody can hear.
Do that.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Mayor, Council, everybody in attendance, everybody Zoom, hope you can hear me. The first letter is from resident Susie Ponkowski. I would like to thank the mayor, Anita Cotton Orr, for immediate and open communication concerning the rescinding of city leases held by the Merrill Trust. Well, it has always been common knowledge that the leases could be rescinded by giving the city 30 days notice. Her announcement was much appreciated, and her full disclosure showed her priority to keep the citizens informed of all the details, including the attorney's letter. Was also a very informative piece to share. It clearly stated that the character of the attorney's client is a person driven by revenge and not one who values the citizens of Sky Valley and their beautiful city. Because he did not get the sewer project passed as promised by the previous council, this council is left to clean up the mess and try to move forward in a way that honors the wishes of the citizens who live in the city. The demand of the largest single property owner should have been disregarded when he demanded a multi-million-dollar project, which clearly benefits only him. Nothing that he said he was planning to do.
More. You did that one and that one. Now you got to put the other three in.
Foreign language.
Everybody's muted now. I'll continue. Nothing that he said he was planning to do after the sewer was installed was met with majority citizen approval. Also want to thank councilors Carrie Sue Beasley, Beth Pence, and Jesse Price for voting against continuing the sewer project. That showed me their commitment to the citizens of Sky Valley and that they were heard. Thank you for your vote. I would employ all of you negative and nasty people to keep your comments amongst yourselves. I'm just a messenger. Ask questions. Don't sleep mud. It's very unbecoming. Sincerely, Susan Ponkowski.
Susie Penthouse. Well, where do you go?
I'm so prepared to have all my. This next piece, this next letter is actually from Chris F. West, who is the attorney at law for the Merrill Trust. And it's rather long, so I will do my best to read this as quickly and clearly as I can. Mayor and members of City Council, City of Sky Valley, notice of termination of Mud Creek Trail Agreement and revocation of all permissions to use property owned by Merrill Trust entities. Dear Mayor and members of City Council, I represent the Merrill Trust Group and its related entities. Merrill, the owner of certain real property consisting over 500 acres located within the corporate limits of the City of Sky Valley, Raven County, Georgia, including areas previously used for the main entrance, walking trails, parks, and maintenance areas. Over the past several years, Merrill and the city have worked in good relationship together, and Merrill has created amenities such as the main entrance, parks, trails, and maintenance areas to enhance the quality of life within the city. Merrill has permitted the city and its residents to use significant portions of this private property for the main entrance, walking trails, parks, open space, and maintenance activities as part of the corporate effort between Merrill Trust entities and the city. Merrill's willingness to grant and continue these permissions was directly connected to an aligned vision for the future with a positive, transparent, and good working relationship to improve the quality of life of the residents of Sky Valley. My client watched last year during these city elections as false information was spread regarding the past administration, the public infrastructure project, and related grants, and my client, including that my client's zoning rights would unlawfully be altered. My client hoped that this was just negative campaign rhetoric that would subside after the election, and the newly elected officials would educate themselves on the public infrastructure project and other improvements for the city, instead of fanning the flames on social media, as it is universally accepted that public infrastructure and quality sustained growth should be the goal for any city. Concerned about some of the troubling rhetoric and wanting to meet the new administration, my client reached out numerous times over a 5-month span to city staff in order to have a meeting with the mayor and individual council members. Those repeated requests for discussions were not granted for over 5 months. It was very disappointing for me and my client to find out that the city voted to revoke $5 million in grants for public infrastructure after the fact through the Clayton newspaper and friends in the area. The primary role of the local government, like the city of Sky Valley, is to maintain order, security, and stability while protecting citizens' rights and providing public services like infrastructure and education. I am told that almost 25% of the housing units in the city have had serious issues regarding the aging septic infrastructure. And in order to have the ability to fix it through the hard work of past administrations and employees, and to turn down $5 million in grants to fix the issue and saying it is not the city's responsibility, but the homeowner contractors, the responsibility of local government. But the homeowners contradicts the responsibility of local government. Merrill was heavily involved in helping make the possibility for sewer a reality in Sky Valley and had agreed to fund a large portion of the infrastructure expansion beyond the grants through future development, which would be a tremendous value to the city and many residents. In the video recording of the meeting relevant to the city's actions, it seems apparent the city council acknowledged that they did not make any concerted efforts to educate themselves on the details of the infrastructure project, the grants, or perform a needs assessment, but rather made a decision to revoke $5 million in approved grants because they believe costs have gone up for the system based on information obtained at a training session. In light of the city council's puzzling decision to discontinue efforts for public infrastructure improvements, to revoke the associated $5 million grants and refusal to communicate and work in good faith, the fundamental basis upon which Merrill's permission was granted no longer exists. Accordingly, effective May 8, 2026, all such license and permissions are hereby revoked. The city and all members of the public are directed to immediately cease and desist from any further use of the leased properties and the additional permitted areas after that date. Termination of the Mud Creek Trail lease agreement. On April 17, 2016, Merrill signed a lease agreement for the Mud Creek Trail property. The lease provided for automatic renewal each year unless terminated. Pursuant to Section 4 of this lease, either party may cancel the agreement at any time by giving 30 days written notice. This letter constitutes formal written notice that Merrill hereby terminates the lease effective 30 days from the date of this letter, which was, I believe, April 8th. That would be May 8, 2026. Upon termination, the city shall immediately surrender the leased premises to Merrill in as good a state the condition as existed at the commencement of the lease, reasonable wear and tear by the elements expected. Any alterations, additions, or improvements and unmovable fixtures shall remain the sole property of Merrill. Revocation of all license and permissions. In addition to the leased premises, Merrill previously granted to the city and the public gratuitous permission to use additional permitted areas for the purposes described above. The city and all members of the public are directed to immediately cease and desist from any further use of leased properties and to any property owned by Merrill and its related entities after that date. Continued entry or use after May 8, 2026 of Merrill property will constitute trespass, and Merrill reserves all legal remedies available under Georgia law, including but not limited to injunctive relief and damages. The city shall, at its sole expense, remove any city-owned personal property, signage, or equipment from the property, including the main entrance, parks, trails, and maintenance areas on or before the effective date, and shall leave the property in good, clean condition, having repaired any damage and returning the property to its previous condition. This notice is given without waiver of any other rights or remedies available to Merrill under the lease, at law, or in equity. Considering the magnitude of the decision of the city's future, the apparent failure to follow proper protocols for a vote, and the failure to have necessary parties and appropriate information present for an informed decision, we request that the mayor and council hold off on officially submitting the resolution to GFA and ARC until any relevant time for appeal is passed, and additional information has been gathered for an informed decision. This decision will have negative impact to the city and certain property owners that will be far-reaching and cannot be undone. We request that this correspondence be read in its entirety at the next regularly scheduled public meeting of the city council and publicized in its entirety. Thank you for attention in this matter. We look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, Chris F. West, Attorney at Law from Mel Trust Group. Board Raven Investors LLC, Sky Valley Investors LLC.
Thank you. Well, letters were requested to be read into the record and at this meeting, so they have been. And Jason, now you may continue with your.
Hopefully this will be a little bit lighter tone here, but to echo the mayor, Chief Sigmund, I want to thank you again, the Sky Valley Staley Mountain Volunteer Fire Rescue, for the use of the meeting room for our council staff planning retreat late last month. Productive session and opportunity for elected officials and staff to come together and discuss issues. And as the mayor said, no action was taken during this planning retreat. Also want to welcome back our seasonal residents as we're getting into the springtime, as getting into summer. We're seeing our seasonal folks coming back, familiar faces. Welcome, welcome. If anyone looks around the room, may not even notice this, but you should notice cameras. The city is making an extraordinary effort and improving security here at City Hall, so everybody's being recorded. In total, there will be 12 cameras, in which 9 are present. The other 3 will be installed very soon. So we have one over here, one over here, one over here. I want to thank the Public Works staff, particularly Cody English and Neil Chastain, for repairing and repainting the cracks on the pickleball courts. They look great. I know that was kind of a heavy lift. A lot of time on your hands and knees doing that, but y'all did a phenomenal job. Hopefully the pickleball players will notice the work you did. Planning is underway for the 250th celebration of this great country's founding. City events are scheduled for Friday, July 3rd. I know this has been said before, but if anyone is interested in volunteering, I'm sure you can be plugged in somewhere. With the warmer temps, the grass is really starting to grow, and the Public Works guys have started our annual seasonal grass cutting. Just an FYI, if you see our guys out doing work, please be aware of them, because they are around noisy equipment and they may not hear you before they see you. So just kind of help watch out for them. Speaking of the warmer tips, although this has been awesome, we are in fact in a drought. I think Councilmember Beth Pence talked about that. I, along with Cody English, our water coordinator, are participating in a webinar today at 3 with the environmental protection folks, where the drought is going to be discussed and how it may impact local governments such as Sky Valley. I think Cody's going to talk a little bit about that, so I don't want to take up too much of the time there. The fire that we had a couple months ago on Ridgepole, I want to provide an update on this. Ridgepole, as you may know, is a dead end road. When the first responders were there, it did leave a certain section of the city temporarily trapped for the comings and goings. There is actually there's a stubbed out old road bed down near the 2200 block of Ridgepole that's overgrown. This old road bed, if it would have ever been completed, would connect back to Bear Trace, which ultimately connects back to Evergreen, as you know, the southern road. We're talking with the property owner who is willing to deed some land to aid in creating this connectivity road. And we also have a surveyor that is staking out the right of way. And the plan is to ultimately improve that road. What that would do, that would create an access point from the end of Ridgepole back to Cobblewood to Evergreen. So we're excited about doing that as we focus on public safety and improving the connectivity of our city. We hope to have this done by before the end of the year. And this project would be funded out of T-SPLOST and potential LMIG funding. Speaking of LMIG, as you know, we do get a grant every year that we have to designate projects. I'm pleased to announce that we will soon to be awarded an additional or supplemental grant through LMIG, and that's to the Georgia Department of Transportation a local maintenance improvement grant. And we are getting an additional 48,000 in supplemental grant funding. The great thing about this grant is it does not require a city match. And it also offsets road improvement funding that normally would come out of the general fund or even the T-SPLOST funding. Speaking of T-SPLOST collections, they should restart, my understanding, in June of this year. And once those collections get back started, we anticipate seeing somewhere around 55,000 a month. That's about what our collections were previously. SPLOST collections, we're on month 4 on those collections, and they're coming in strong at a rate of about 11,000, 11,500 a month. So they're coming in. Talking about finances, taxes, fees, as I've stated the past couple of months, we've not paid the property taxes. They are now past due. We have received approximately 98% of those, so thank you for those that paid. Fees and penalties are now in effect, and collection efforts are in gear to collect if need be. On city expenditures, you all received a report. As we are at this point in the year, week 17 of 52, it's around 33%, about a third of the budget year, fiscal year. We're at 32% on expenditures on general fund, water, and trash, so we're actually doing very well. Revenue side, we're over 77% of collection of the general fund, 35% for water, and 33% for trash. And I want to close as I always do. That if you have an SDR, short-term rental from the city, make sure that you are compliant, renew if you need to, or obtain the license if you need to. And if you are planning or currently driving a golf cart or side-by-side on city roads, you need to get proper permitting, and you can reach out to the city and have that coordinated with Chief Bomas and then get that as well. And I'm going to stop there. We have a long meeting, Madam Mayor.
I have one request of you. I know that folks are wondering about SPLOST and T-SPLOST. Would you explain what that is for the benefit of our folks, and also explain why we get fewer dollars in SPLOST than in T-SPLOST, because that's very relevant here.
Well, the state loves acronyms. SPLOST, Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and that's a 1 cent tax. So it is, and the great thing about that is that our tourist folks that come in, our wonderful visitors, they pay that as well as our residents. The SPLOST funding, it has a broader allowance that you can use that for buildings, maintenance, equipment, infrastructure, et cetera. The way that funding is broken down is based on population. You take the population of Sky Valley, which is around 600 plus or minus, divide that by the population of the county as a whole, about 16, 17,000. That creates a certain percentage of, meaning that Sky Valley's population is a certain percentage of the county as a whole. And then you take what's anticipated to be received over the life of that SPLOST, which is 5 years, multiply that total by that percentage, that's where it comes out to be. The city should collect around $600,000 over the 5 years. At the rate of collections, one of the unintended consequences, I guess, of inflation, when everything costs more, you pay more in sales tax. We have been collecting that money quicker. When this was discussed a year ago, we were thinking we were receiving around 10 grand a month. We've been receiving around that. The first month was around 2,500, which kind of brings it down 11,000. Months 2, 3, and 4 have been in that $14,000 to $16,000 a month. On the T-SPLOST, which stands for Transportation Special Purchase Local Option Sales Tax, again, the state loves these acronyms. That money is earmarked solely for transportation improvements. And the way that was done is, again, it goes by percentages. Because we have 31 miles of road in the city, believe it or not, you take what was spent over the last 3 years, and then that creates a percentage of what is a total. And the way those percentages worked out based on the $26 million T-SPLOST, we should anticipate a minimum about $3 million over the next 6 years. And the one thing about that, the original T-SPLOST, the law has changed, but it was a 5-year or $17 million, whatever came first. The T-SPLOST that we have now is a $17 million or $26 million. But the great thing about that is it can run the whole 6 years. The previous T-SPLOST, once that $17 million was received, which took about 3 years, we had to stop collection. So we actually may receive more than $3 million, but that has been a great thing for the city, these penny taxes. And another thing too, it's important to note, they were passed by the citizens. Thank you for doing that. These are not new taxes, these are continuance of existing penny tax. So when the citizens voted, they just voted to continue that. So the collections, as I said, for T-Splosh should start back around June. And we do have we have programs, some road improvements for this year. Jerry Shope, our public works manager, and as long as the water coordinator English, we do have some prioritized improvements we want to do. Once we get a better understanding about how much we're going to start collecting, we hope to get that out to the TIPS program, the bidding program very soon, and have something to you all in the next couple of months as far as some recommendations.
Thank you for that explanation. Just one more thing about the cameras. There is no sound to those cameras. It's a security measure, not an eavesdropping measure. And I encourage you all to stop by Jason's office if you want to see what the coverage of those cameras is. Walk in and he'll be happy to show you what it's actually covering. And it is 24/7, correct?
Yes, ma'am, it
All
is,
right.
it's 24/7, you know, as the mayor said, there's no sound. Yeah, and they've got some pretty good clarity to them.
Yes, they do. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And, all right, moving on to the departmental
Okay.
reports, if you would.
Madam Mayor, at this time, do you recognize Jim Piper? Our,
Mr. Ivor?
keep him on his toes, he's towards the end, I'm gonna have him first one today, but, he is our, building inspector and our code enforcement officer.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, residents. I've been asked to keep this brief, so in the month of March, I only issued one citation, and that was for someone that was doing some extensive tree work up on West Sugar Bush. They had a contractor that decided he didn't want to continue the job. They got another contractor, and it was just a matter of paperwork, but for liability purposes, we had to have that contractor's information. So we ended up paying $125, the regular permit fee, and then a double that, which was another $125. So far in April, I haven't had to issue any citations yet. Hopefully I won't have to. 1824 Ridgepole, that was the home that was destroyed by fire in February. They have completed the demolition, and they are finalizing probably in the next couple of days the getting rid of the trees. There was quite a few trees that were damaged beyond, well, you know, that they couldn't come back. It was a really, really big hot fire, so you happen to drive by. It's a beautiful view, but the homeowner will be rebuilding, and looking forward to that. I issued one certificate of completion in April this month, and that was for the cell tower up on Alex Mountain, Wild Bird. It's a Verizon tower, but it was a 20-foot extension by T-Mobile. And for years, I've got T-Mobile, I used to be Sprint, I've had it for years, didn't have very good service up there. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've noticed a pronounced improvement on my T-Mobile service, but they said it would be for all cell service. So hopefully you're experiencing some better reception. I don't know. That's what I was told. In addition to the work on 1108 Knob, which he's probably going to be finished in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We also, Mountain Modern, they're actually pouring concrete today. That's the home up that they're building at the very top of Ridgepole, just before the gate, right at the ridge. And by the way, an announcement will go out later, but in case you're up at the top of Ridgepole, I don't think anybody in there is. It will possibly be closed. Obviously, they'll allow for emergencies and an ingress egress, but from 12 to 2 today. Exciting news, just in the last few weeks, we received permit applications, and they're actually starting to work. LaBelle Circle, if you happen to drive near View Lane, they're clearing that lot. It's a new builder as far as Sky Valley is concerned, Mountain View Homes. They specialize in mountain homes, and that's going to be a nice addition. Also, on Evergreen, lot 229, they've been clearing that, and they should be getting ready to pour the footers either the end of this week or next week. And in addition to to those, we've got two more on Evergreen that are pending, the applications. The one that's doing the work right now on LaBelle Circle near View also purchased 2 lots on Sheep Cliff, and he's hoping to build there later this year. One more on LaBelle Circle that is pending. They just closed on that property about 2 weeks ago. And then there's one pending on Saddleback. So last year I issued 3 new home permits for the entire year. Right now, we've got almost 8 pending just in the last couple of months. So single family homes are really starting to get popular. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
I would just observe that this home building that we're seeing is unprecedented in the time that I've been in Sky Valley. For many, many years, our property values weren't anywhere close to what was in Highlands and Cashiers and up on the plateau. And our property values now have soared. The point is that people want to be in Sky Valley, but the price of existing homes is such that now, for the first time in a long time, it's truly feasible to build a new home. Old homes and new homes are good substitutes for one another. A lot of people want new homes, but if you can't get the old homes that were such a great bargain just a few years ago, this is what you have to do. It's build new housing. And it's good for the city because we want as many housing options available for people that want to live a Sky Valley lifestyle as we can possibly provide. So it's a great thing. It's a sign of the economic health of our city.
Thank you, Councilor.
Excuse me, on that note, just to point out, the homes that I just mentioned and potential homes, price ranges are anywhere, values are anywhere from 500,000 to 2.5 million.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, this time you'll recognize Jerry Show, our Public Works Director.
Welcome.
Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I want to thank everybody for the continued support that y'all give to us and have faith and confidence in us. But I don't know if Jason has sometimes reads my mind or if there's places I don't know he's at because he touched on the grass in the corner and the pickleball court as well. Anyway, that being said, we are in the grass season. A lot of grass to keep up with and keep cut, weed eating. We'll be spraying some weed killer, but it is aquatic, which is water safe for the fish and all that kind of stuff. So we should be fine. Redefining the ditches, we're still working on that, trying to get everything to where it needs to be, where we have better drainage. Culverts, now that the weather's warmed up, we'll be taking and hooking the hydrants or using the hydrovac and blowing through the culverts, trying to get them all cleaned out. I think we've made a lot of progress on doing that, and everything's starting to look a lot better. And the signage, the new signs that we got up, I noticed a lot of them are still leaning and they need some attention, and a lot of the older ones are dirty and need cleaned up, so we can get back on that now as well. And that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Mr. Shaw?
I will add, Madam Mayor, that you have an opening in Public Works.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If anybody, please, that may be watching this or see this feature, that you want to work for a great city, great benefits, great opportunity, reach out to Mr. Show.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, if you'll recognize Cody English, our water coordinator, he's going to talk briefly about a few things relevant to the city.
Mr. English.
Good morning. I guess it's still one judge somewhere. I know we've said a couple times this morning about the drought-like conditions that we're experiencing. like Jason said, we got a EPD conference call. That's a statewide call to all water systems in Georgia. We will be at that at 3 o'clock this evening. The EPD is looking to make a drought response level declaration. After this meeting today, they said that it would probably be about 3 days after this meeting before they could, get all their information together. I would like to start off by reading what the drought response level 1 requirements are. And it's pretty straightforward. It says here, drought response level 1 requires public water systems to conduct a public information campaign to explain drought conditions and the need to conserve water. The campaign shall include one or more of the following: newspaper advertisements, bill inserts, website posts, social media, notice, and public libraries. So, like I said, it's pretty straightforward, and I think regardless of what the EPD determines today or within the next 3 days, I think we should just go ahead and make some posts now and try to conserve the water now. I would like to say too that in my 10 years of being here, we've never even been close to running out of water. We go by the well houses every day and check our transducer levels, which tells us how deep our water is in the aquifers. And they've never been close to being run out. I know this, we've been in drought-like conditions before, and everybody should pray for rain. Let's see. What this means for the city, like I said, it means that our community needs to come together and try to conserve water, and we should be doing that anyway. I know the public works staff, we make an attempt at conserving water every single day that we come to work. That's leak detection devices, trying to find water leaks, being proactive on staying up to date on maintenance on our PRVs, and there's a long list of things that we try to do every day to conserve water, and I think the residents of Sky Valley should be doing the same. Let's see. I would also like to remind everybody that's leaving town to turn their water off. It's as simple as doing it yourself, calling a neighbor, having a friend come by, turn your water off, or call the city. We'll be glad to come out and turn your water off. The girls in the office will be glad to make a work order, and we will be glad to go turn your water off or on as you come back into town.
And is that free?
It is not free. It's a $35 charge. $30 charge, excuse me. It's a
I knew that.
$30 charge.
That was for everybody else's.
It's a $30 charge if we do it. Like I said, I've been here for 10 years and have never seen the wells run dry. But that doesn't mean that we don't need to conserve water. So if everybody will, just please be on the lookout. We're going to be putting maybe like a brochure informational thing out, how to conserve water on social media. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and start doing the level 1 response, even though they haven't declared us to do it yet. The drought deal, it's a big deal, don't get me wrong, I know what that is, but I do want to say something on the leak detection devices and that kind of stuff that Cody has went through with Jason, and they've got, it's been a big improvement, but there's times and you'll never know it. He comes out at night and listens. It's a lot better time to listen. You go to the pit, you can listen. It's a lot quieter. Don't have all kinds of noise. But he comes out and listens to see if he can detect a leak or if it's picking up somewhere and go from there. But there's a lot to it.
Thank you. And just to remind everybody, we are Georgia's highest and coolest city, and we're supposed to have Georgia's highest rainfall. And we have not had that this year yet. And so you can imagine what the rest of the state is struggling with as well. So pray for our farmers as well.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have a groundwater system. I know there's a lot of surface water systems around Georgia that are really struggling right now, you know, because of no rain.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions of Cody from the council?
Madam Mayor, to recognize Chief Thomas for the police department.
Chief Thomas.
Madam Mayor, council, residents, I have two items that I'd just like to briefly discuss. First is the flock safety camera system. This is something I introduced during the recent planning retreat as a proactive step to enhance public safety in Sky Valley. Since then, I've continued working out through the details and have been actively applying for grants to help fund the cost. I'll be presenting this to the Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee this afternoon and requesting their support and recommendation to the council. My plan is to bring a formal proposal before you in May at the May meeting. Secondly, I'll be asking the council to consider increasing our citation fines by $25. This is something we discussed also at the work session. It would bring us more in line with the surrounding jurisdictions while helping address the rising costs associated with port operations, equipment, and services. And we have looked back, we haven't raised the fine amounts. If anybody's curious, it's been over 25 years. So definitely overdue. We have a new officer that's been training the past couple of weeks, Officer Golden. He'll be finishing up training tonight with Sergeant Maloney, and he'll be on shift on his own this weekend, coming Friday. Our March numbers are, I've got them totaled. This time last year, we had 9 traffic accidents reported. This year, we've only had 1. Pretty much the rest of the numbers are in line with last year, except our patrol miles. We're up about 3,400 more patrol miles this year than last.
Anybody in the council have any questions?
Would you repeat the name of the new officer?
Golden, Golden, Robert Golden.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Mayor, last but certainly not least, Chief Tippett, do you have anything you could add? Please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Got a few things from the fire department to pass on to you. Again, like last time, this is a give and take. So if you got any questions, please ask me during this whole thing. During this last couple of weeks, due to the Merrill dispute and all the rest of that that's going on here, I've had some questions thrown to me. The biggest one is, and Jason and I worked it out here pretty quickly last week, is where are you going to land helicopters now? The only impact that will have on us as far as landing our medical evac helicopters is the overlook down on 246. Actually, it's I hate to say it, it's kind of a blessing in our favor to have that close. We didn't like it as an LZ or a landing zone. The police department wasn't crazy about it because we had to shut down traffic on 246. And the pilots absolutely hated it. We had a near tail strike 2 years ago, landing at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and they just hate it. As of now, we don't have any active LZs in the city of Sky Valley. There used to be one. You can still see the remnants of it next to the little lodge down there. If between now and the 8th, to do it legally, if you go down there on the east side of the building, you'll see a big circle with an H in the middle. That's where we used to land. We've taken out of service about 10 years ago due to the fact that people didn't respect it as a landing zone and they were parking their vehicles. vehicles and everything in it. And we now land the helicopter exclusively up at our Scaly Mountain Station up on Hale Ridge. It doesn't take that long to get a patient up there in the ambulance. Most of the time, the ambulance gets to the LZ before the helicopter does, depending on the availability and when they launch. But it's not a problem from our standpoint. Not being able, it's, believe me, watching one of those things land on slope ground, the trees all around it. I don't have that many years left in the end of my life that I want to spend it, worried about that. So that worked out actually in our favor. In the last month, we have been, it's kind of a curse blessing, but we have taken on 10 new firefighters.
Wow.
Due to other firefighters going out, and I guess I've heard everything up, up to and including the possibility of gunfire if they didn't join. But, we had 10 joined. We've got 2 more in the wings that may be joining us here in the next couple of weeks. Also, with that comes, unfortunately, with the time and money that is needed to be invested in these people. It's going to take for our interior firefighters, our actual ones that go out and fight the interior fires. It's going to take about a year to get them trained and up to speed. The rest of them will be doing support activities, which is very important to our department. That comes down to traffic control and assisting interior firefighters, driver engineers, and maintenance around the station. But we are very, very lucky. And once these 10 firefighters get through their certifications, we will, the Sky Valley Scaly Mountain Volunteer Fire Rescue Department will be the most manned department in either Macon or Raven County, which we serve.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Had nothing to do with this. They just said, we're here. But it's very nice to have. We used to have 15 members, and due to the restructuring from North Carolina and Georgia with our ISO requirements, we are now under one fire protection district, which incorporates Macon County, and Sky Valley. So we now have to have 19 firefighters. So having 30 or 32 is very nice. I've got room for 36, so there's 4 more. Right? There's not really a whole lot that's required to be with us, but so if you see us out there training and half of us looking like we're losing our minds and the other half are confused, that's us out training. And we take them out. You'll see us out here in the next couple of weeks going through the cities and looking at different sites and the roads and access and all the rest of that. That's part of the training process here of the new firefighters. Brought up the drought response level 1. The only thing I have to add to that, we are under a bird ban, both Macon and Raven County. If you feel the obligation to go out and set fire to something, just to burn it, get out of the way, or even in a fire pit in the evening, you are responsible. It's called the striking match theory here. Whoever lights the fire is responsible. From the fire department aspect, unless you're endangering somebody else's property or lives, we don't have any legal right to come in and put your fire out. However, we will tell you very outspokenly, if you would, to put the fire out. Because should it spread beyond what you have already had problems with it spreading from, you are responsible, both civilly and criminally. So just don't do it. I don't know what it is about everybody around here having to burn stuff, especially like branches and leaves. Started on a tree, put it back in the ground, come out of the ground, put it back in the ground. Setting on fire just gets everybody's underwear in a knot. So it's last year we got a little bit of a scare here. We were never really in any danger here. be vigilant. Things can get out of hand real quick. We're supposed to get a little bit of rain this weekend. It's not gonna be enough to get us out of this drought. They're talking less than 2 inches of rain. We need about a foot. So just be careful, common sense, why is common sense so uncommon? I'm talking to a firefighter today. Hydrants here in Sky Valley, we are due to test them. We are going to put that off until we actually flow testing them. It is part of our ISO ratings that we do. We have to test these. They're all considered water sites within the city. They have to be tested they have to be tested every 5 years. They recommend being tested annually. We don't have the money or the manpower to do it annually. So we're on a 3-year cycle. This is the 3rd year to have them tested. It takes about 500 gallons per hydrant to test them. And we're not gonna be the ones taking the abuse. Here's the fire department out here wasting their own water. Not until we get some sufficient rain and then get with Cody and he says, yeah, we're good to go on it and all the rest of that. I don't wanna upset y'all. We will be out doing maintenance on the hydrants. We'll be painting them, recolor coding them if necessary, and putting the markers out in the roads again. If you happen to see and you're walking by, I'm not saying, lock up the car and cause a big traffic jam or anything. You see one of our blue hydrant markers that was in the middle of the road last fall and is now in the trees or the banks of the bushes or something like that because of the snow we had and the plows coming through. If you can pick it up, just put it next to the hydrant, we appreciate it. They're not cheap, those little markers. We will be putting them back out this year and we will actually be drilling them into the road so that they will be a little more resistant to you guys. I know you aim for them, they were put down with some real light glue last year and they stick real good, where we don't get snow, but up here, they don't stick too well. So we're gonna permanently mount to the roadway this year. And have patience with us. We will be out in the road, and brings up another subject. Y'all need to slow down driving around. I live on Evergreen Lane, which has now been renamed Evergreen Expressway. It's unnerving. My wife Shelley and I will sit out back on the porch and we'll listen to the people racing up and down the road, we hear brakes, horns, people yelling at each other, and every once in a while, we are rewarded for our patience by hearing 2 vehicles collide. Unfortunately, it happens in front of our house. A couple of weeks ago there, slow down, okay? I know it's convenient, it is a convenience, okay? It's not an emergency exit, it's a convenience, we call it what it is. And just slow down, okay? I don't want to come out and have to take somebody out of a car that's busted up, gone over the side, smashed up, with severe injuries, even death. It's gonna happen, it happens, that's why I have a job, all right? For 47 years, people screwing up has done pretty good for me as a firefighter. Employed. But just, from our own standpoint, just slow down. There's nothing around here worth getting hurt for. There really isn't. These roads here are just terrible for that. So that's about all I have from the fire department's aspect. I appreciate everybody's support. We are very much appreciated here in Sky Valley as an outlying Dillard and up in Staley, but the citizens of Sky Valley have gone above and beyond, their taxes and all the rest of that to make us feel very good about the job that we do. We do appreciate it. So anybody got anything for me? Stick up the paw now.
Somebody on Zoom did, if you,
Hey, how you doing?
no, Terry Lou, did you have something to say?
I will add that we will be having our next morning with the mayor and coffee with the chief over at the Sky Valley Scaly Mountain Fire Department with the permission of Chief Siegler, and he will twist his arm to show you all his toys.
The meeting with the chief, is that police chief? We don't allow cops in the station.
Uh-oh. Well.
Well, we'll put out a bag of donuts.
And that will
for
be
you.
in June when more of the part-timers are back here for the summer, that we'll have our coffee with the chief and morning with the mayor and pastries.
Pastries.
Find it in Market.
How are you gonna get a cop in there without pastries?
Donuts.
Made a difference. All right.
Thank you, chief.
Apparently our question disappeared.
I guess so.
Yes. Okay. Y'all have a good month. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Who knew he had a sense of
Thanks,
humor?
Ken.
Joe, did you do Santa? Did you? Did he have a sense?
Well,
of
you asked my
Oh.
mother. She said, "Boy, you're a real
humor? Never said that.
You're real funny, Ken."
That's him, right?
Well, where'd you get your sense of humor, chief? Where'd you find it?
Many, many years of seeing really funny stuff.
Thank you so much. Is that everything? All right, do we have any committee reports today to share?
All right. The Finance Committee will meet again on May 20th, and the Advisory Committee met on March 26th, 6th, and was very productive and constructive. They talked about many topics that you all have brought to them. So I advise you to look on YouTube for the advisory meeting on May 26th, and you can watch it yourself and see what your fellow residents talk about and want to bring to the council. So they'll be doing that probably next month. But those were the two meetings that we had.
Thank you. Anything else? Right, moving on to number 10, we have Ms. Kristen Watley, who is a Sky Valley resident and would like to talk about her water usage. Come on up to the microphone and tell the city council. And welcome. It's really wonderful to hear the history that you have in Sky Valley.
Well, Mr. Curtis, very generous, David Love. Can you hear me now? David, this is his heart. I come before the council today, Madam Mayor and city council members and residents, because of a very unusual situation. In February, I was contacted by Jason in a telephone call with Cody and Summer from the office because I had a $9,700 water bill. Now here we are talking about conserving water, but something went awry, and they wanted to alert me that this was a problem, and he saw water coming near my house and I needed to get up here. So the odd thing about it is that the records show that I had the water turned off in October. And that's what the city's records show. So got up here, and make a long story short, I had All American Plumbing, who we have used for years. They were just great. Guy was up in Highlands, came right down, was there all day. That was $1,100. Just going through the house and making sure what happened. But for the life of us, none of us can understand why we have got a water problem, because the meter wasn't broken and the opening and closing valve was not broken. To our knowledge, there were no other water problems during this time frame on Saddleback. I contacted the Brendan Thompson of the Raven County Water and Sewer Authority. And the average home in Raven County will run between 5,000 and 8,000 gallons a month. But that's like for a family of 5 with 3 children and the washer and dryer running all the time. So the largest home in Raven County, the most water they would ever use is 10,000 a month. Well, this was 575,000. Let me get it for you exactly. Because I don't want to. Give it to you wrong. Total usage, 578,400 gallons of water. So the big question is, none of us can figure out why. Cody can't figure out why. The plumbing people can't figure out why. Jason can't figure out why. I even called the office in January before that storm. I thought I was gonna have people come up, but that didn't work out. And so I just confirmed with Karen that in fact, my water was turned off. And it was. So y'all, I just can't see how, I mean, I know legally the situation, but the bill was $9,714.53 in 1 month. What do y'all think? It's just,
So was there a leak?
the only thing that was leaked was there was water coming through and going down through the basement. But I have closed the house the same way since David died. I've turned off the water. It's been at the street. I do have a serve line, so we made a claim on the serve line. So hopefully we'll get the $2,500. And that claim has been made. And Aaron contacted the city, I hope.
Did you say you had a plumber come out? Did they find something and fix something?
Well, but it was as a result of it, not because there was something wrong in the house.
But has the water usage stopped?
Well, it's off. Again,
So have we turned it back on to see if it does anything?
we turned it back on when we had the All-American Plumbing people come, so he could see any of the problems that may have resulted. That fixed all of them, but no.
So we don't know if it's been
Oh.
resolved.
Oh, the water's off.
Have a little order here, please. Yes. Thank you.
So, I guess I'm coming before the board and kind of legal, because I sure don't want to have to go to small claims court. And I also wanted to introduce my dear friend J.B. Corum, who has been a wonderful friend of ours and was offered to come and support me today, and so many of my nice neighbors. Skip Hughes always comes and walks across the street and makes sure that what's ever going on in Kristen's house, he knows about. And Carolyn, and he have been great neighbors, as have Barbara.
Are you being billed for that?
Am I one?
Are they asking you to pay that?
Yes.
Do we have any clarifying questions from the council?
What, you mentioned solutions, what were the solutions the plumber said?
There weren't any. Other than him fixing what needed to be fixed, and that cost $1,100, and I paid him.
Okay, what did he fix?
He just fixed little things around, like the drains and so forth. He checked everything. And if there was anything in the house. The one thing I found out, and it might be helpful for non-resident property owners, some people, that the All-American Plumbing Company, and I'm sure others would too, will come and turn off your water even more, even though Cody has turned it off at the street, they'll come and winterize, and they'll come and unwinterize like $165. Well, believe you me, versus $9,700. That sounds wonderful.
What was your water damage?
Just that part that he had to, it was a water filter thing that burst. But, just little tiny things. I have the bill if you want to see it.
Did it burst because it was frozen?
I don't know whether it was frozen from the storm or it was burst because somehow the water got turned on. But we don't know.
Where did the burst occur? Was it in the ground or was it was in the house?
The burst, I don't know where the burst first occurred. I mean, it had to be where the water comes in somewhere. But what happened in my house was the water filter. I did not turn the water filter down and never have. But the plumbing people said I need to do that in the future, and I'm just gonna get them to come.
It seems like a real mystery because there's only so much water in the house. And if the water was turned off at the street,
Correct,
there couldn't have been water coming in.
but there was
Yeah. I mean,
574,000.
yeah, so the water turnoff is at the street. It's, you know, it's
Right.
publicly accessible. And I could see how a homeowner might not know where theirs is and finally find one and, it belongs to somebody else. I don't know.
I'll be glad to give you any of the records that I have.
Yeah.
I have complete trust in Cody. He has always done an absolutely wonderful job for me. So
So Kristen, are you insinuating that somehow we didn't do what we said we would do?
Tony, I don't have any idea.
Okay.
I have had people comment on that to me, but I don't know.
Right.
As far as well, what I can show you though is I can show
I
you
believe that. I mean, but obviously the water was turned on.
somehow,
Or it wasn't, yeah.
but it wasn't turned on by me. It wasn't turned on by Cody, and we don't know where it came from.
There was a work order on that as well.
Right.
And, we have record of that, like she's saying, it was turned off and it was completed on the work order, so.
Jason, do you have anything to share with the city council on this?
Well, as Ms. Watley said, we did have a conversation, Madam Mayor, about the water obviously was turned back on. A meter is a mechanical device. It has a rotor. It takes the force of the water to spin that rotor to calculate usage. So obviously, the burst, I guess, in the basement, that would have allowed water to free flow. And from the records, the city did do a data log. It looks like the leak, of course, we read meters once a month. The last day of the month, so we would have read, I believe, on the 31st, Cody, of January. And it looks like around the 3rd of February it started. And it's just a consistent flow from the 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, all the way until when we read meters again, which would have been very early. That's what we read on the 2nd of March. It was a short month. And that, when we read meters, the metering system generates a report of anomalous high water usage. Obviously, this showed a water usage excessive. Cody went out there to the property. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, you can speak, I don't want to speak for him. We went out there and noticed the meter was just spinning like a helicopter rotor, except, and I guess he went around the back and I guess you can see water running, is that correct? Obviously cut the water off, because again, somehow it had been cut on, but unfortunately it free flowed for the whole month of February.
Yeah.
And that was the 6th.
And so, yes, ma'am, I mean, if you look at it, it had to be pretty much wide open because, you know, the numbers, for example, February 6th, 20,990, February 7th, 20,990, this is gallons. February 11th, 21,000, 10 gallons, February 12th, 21,000, 13th, 21,000. So it was just, unfortunately, it was just free flowing from the break. And so,
If you all remember, oops, sorry.
I was gonna ask Jason, this seems to me like it's an argument for raising the serve line maximum to $10,000. I mean, the way we're set up now, where we read it monthly, you know, if the day after we read it, we have a break, and that's essentially what happened here. $10,000 sounds like about as high as it's gonna get.
If I may just interject here, that's a separate discussion. We
Yes,
need to
it is.
discuss this, and you make a valid point, but that is not for this particular discussion.
But I appreciate you bringing the point up.
Mhm.
If you all will remember, that was the weekend of the storm. February 2nd was that huge storm, second storm we had. That's all I know.
Is there any further input from the staff on this? Thank you, Ms. Watley. Thank you.
I think we've covered everything, like Jason said, we had a work order to do it, to go out and turn the water off at Miss Watley's address. I believe it was October 27th of last year. The records show that we went out October 28th and turned the water off, completed the work order. Like I said, we, come February, the end of February, early March, we read meters and it threw a red flag, and I went out there immediately, seen the meter was spinning, turned the homeowner valve off, walked around the backside of Miss Watley's house right there and seen the waterfall coming.
That,
And then we come right back and made contact with Miss Watley.
him saying that might give you a better understanding of how the system works, like the wells are designed to keep up with a 2-inch main water leak. It'll keep up with it. In other words, I guess what I'm saying is, it didn't show up as we was losing water because it was coming from a three-quarter inch line or coming out of that filter as 1-inch. The system's designed to keep up with 2-inch, pretty much a complete blowout pipe. The system should keep up with it and keep the tanks full.
Madam Mayor, to answer your question, Councilor Curtis, we've had several conversations with staff, the mystery. The meter by itself is kind of in an isolated area, correct me if I'm wrong.
It is.
Because the question was asked, could somebody have come out there and, because there are places in the city where you may have meters side by side. Could somebody have possibly cut her meter on by accident? I mean, I guess.
This one is by itself.
And so we don't believe that would have been the case. As far as, I know there was a question raised, would the city have cut the water back on? Well, number one, there's a fee to do that, so we would require a work order.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that, there would be no incentive for the city to cut it on without a work order, because you're charged the minimum whether you use water or not. So, we kind of ruled that out. It is an unfortunate thing that,
It'd be mischief.
I mean, that's the unknown. It's,
Our city attorney, Doug Kidd.
I had a question. My understanding is that the water was cut off in October.
Right.
So there was no water going to the property for November, December, January.
That's right.
And then sometime in February, it was free flowing.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So somewhere around that time, late January, February, the meter would have been cut back on because, again, the meter was closed and that front water would not have been allowed to go through.
Do I have a motion from the city council on this for any action? Do I have a motion to return it to staff? Right, there being no motion. Is there any further discussion before I move on?
Well, I think it's wise to wait on the decision until we have an opportunity to really consider it.
Yeah.
All right.
Was there a request for some sort of action on our part, Kristen?
Well, I'm always happy to pay my share of our water usage at the house. house, but, it's normally $65.
Yeah.
Mayor, if I could just address and maybe kind of fill in some of this. My understanding is that this ratepayers here asking the council for relief on the bill, whether completely or partially. I had corresponded with the council on this a few weeks ago. Under our old ordinances, ratepayers had an automatic right to come before council and ask for such things. When we amended the ordinance a couple of years ago to have the serve line program in, we took that portion of the ordinance out. However, I had the discussion with council, we are a utility, we provide the water, and just like any other utility, ratepayers typically have kind of a right to ask for things to be waived or for, some lenience on some things. So that's why I said that we should let this ratepayer come here and make this request. You're under no obligation to honor it. You can reject it if you like. However, I think my recommendation would be, let's see if the serve line claim is going to be paid out. If it is, obviously it's not going to cover the full amount of the bill, but it'll cover partial of it. And then at that point, maybe if y'all can let city staff negotiate with the ratepayer, maybe we can come to do something. It looks like the city did its job. Cutting it off, but it was cut on at some other point. I think, she says she didn't do it. I think she's credible when she says that. So it may, my recommendation is just negotiate and see where we can go. Obviously don't make her pay the bill as of right now. We'll see if this claim's paid out, and then we can, maybe get a resolution there about the, on board. But that's my recommendation. You don't have to do it, but that's what I recommend.
I think years ago, there was similar situation in this community, and there was some forgiveness given on a one-time situation for that particular circumstance. In other words, if you gave her some forgiveness here, worked out a reasonable amount, fine. And then if it happens a second time, hey, you're on the hook for that. Obviously, you can't keep paying part of the bill that is existing.
And we appreciate that. Of course, let me tell you that with the serve line agreement, as the city attorney mentioned, that ability has largely disappeared. Let me ask again, is there a motion on the table?
In lieu of a motion, your historical recollection is probably as good as mine, but mine was that the council would get 4 or 5 of these requests a year, and part of the point of putting the serve line in was to reduce the number of these things that came to council, because it was invariably an involved process. But on top of that, the city wanted to provide some level of protection because we bore some level of responsibility for some of these things that were happening right at the street. And there was always the question of, is it the homeowner's side or is it the city's side? And the city put in some valves, and you've got 2 valves, one's the city's and one's the homeowners. And, some people turn off both valves, even though we're not supposed to touch the city valve, because some of the plumbers have said, if you really want security, you turn them both off. So, I think that's when it was intentional that we dropped the appeal thing. Now, we're a responsive city, of course, we're going to listen.
All right, I have asked for a motion, and I did not ask for discussion yet, but if somebody would, is there a motion on the table?
Yes, I would like to make a motion. If I may, I would move that we turn the negotiation back over to Jason and the city to work with Mrs. Wattley and investigate further and find some kind of mediation resolution.
I second that.
All right, and is there any discussion at this time?
Yes, I would like to make a comment. So last October, we visited the serve line issue, and Doug spoke at that meeting and I rewatched that this morning. And went into great length that the ordinances were changed to create this pathway for residents to be able to get some kind of resolution. So my understanding is that the contracts were put in place and that the ordinances support that the contract is the pathway. My other understanding is that Jason has, as administrative, this feels like an administrative task to me, has administrative authority and discretionary spending up to 15,000, and the mayor has discretionary up to 25,000. So I feel like there's pathways for resolutions for this that don't involve the council per se. So I feel like those pathways were created for this reason, and the city ordinances and resolutions were put in place several years ago to solve this, to keep this from being this. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Doug?
I would suggest that it's not just a matter of, letting them negotiate. We had changed the remedy for going to the council to solve these problems to the serve line deal. So what we're asking now is to, not just for them to negotiate, but for us to sort of temporarily suspend what we had done and for us to take on the obligation to say, yeah, you can negotiate this. Because with that serve line agreement, we basically took that off the table.
That's right, man.
So we're gonna now reopen that and say, okay, from this point on, we're gonna allow negotiations for water bills.
I'm not agreeing to that.
Well, that's what we would be doing essentially if we did this. And that's okay, we can do that, okay? I'm not opposed to helping Kristen out, but.
I think we're on the same page. I'm saying there's already a pathway that exists. I'm only second best most, so I can make a statement, but I think there's already a administrative pathway for this. So I don't feel like that it's a council issue other than, because I think it's serve line and Jason's discretion as the city manager.
I think the motion includes investigating further. Is that right, Beth?
I did say
Because this
that.
is sort of a mystery.
And to clarify, as presiding officer and as mayor, the request came to city council and I agreed that it should go on the agenda as a topic, because if a resident has a bill of almost $10,000 and they ask to be heard before the city council, I believe that is what we're here for. So just to clarify that, and if the decision is that the city council wishes to not tackle this issue, that is all well and good, but I believe that the residents with a bill like that, who appear to have done what they say was everything right, deserve to be heard.
And there's a motion on the floor.
And there is a motion on the floor and there is a second. And is that all the discussion that we're having?
I think the investigation would be important to find out so that we make sure nothing happens like this again. And so I feel like that we don't have enough information to find out really what happened. So I don't know how that takes place, to make sure that if somebody, I'm not saying anybody did anything on purpose or anything, but we find out to make sure, because from my understanding, the water's not even back on. So if she turns the water back on, Ms. Watley turns it back on, is it gonna run 20,000 gallons a day?
According to the verification that I got from the plumber, it should not. And Cody confirmed that in fact, that the water was off. When the plumber finished, normally the city has to turn it off, but he went and confirmed that All American Plumbing turned it off. Is that right, Cody?
Yes, ma'am.
I know one of the investigations, if I may add, I think we had asked Ms. Watley, we were hoping maybe you had like a ring camera or something there that might have captured, but unfortunately, she does not. We were trying to look for the solution to the mystery or that, but she doesn't have that. Unfortunately, she didn't have it.
All right.
I think under the circumstances, this is a reasonable motion to make and approve.
Can we
And we'll
say
find
that?
out more about it.
Could you say that again?
But the motion was to have Jason and the city handle the situation with further investigation with Mrs. Watley and then make decisions accordingly.
And now the motion's been restated and discussion has ended. All in favor of, oh, yes, you second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
All right, and the motion passes.
Mayor, I have a conference call for some city
Yes.
business, at noon. I'm gonna step out, and since I don't get service up here, I have to go down the mountain. I will be back. I expect it'll take about 30 minutes or so, okay?
All right, we will be going into executive session.
And I may have something to comment on at that time. I
All
will.
right, thank you. All right, and moving on to new business. Jason, number 11 is to consider approval of the proclamation of the 57th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which is May 3rd through 9th. And we have some of the most amazing municipal clerks in our very midst. Would you like to read the proclamation, Jason?
Yes, Madam Mayor, to echo that, the staff does a great job, Sharon, you do a phenomenal job as well. Proclamation 57th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 3rd through May 9th of 2026. Whereas the office of professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of governments at other levels, and whereas profound professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. And whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to impose the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, divisional, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Anita Cottonwood, Mayor of the City of Sky Valley, we recognize the week of May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, and that would be Karen Fleming, Summer Murphy. I'd also like to recognize Sharon Lynn Camp, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they present. Dated this 21st day of April 2026, attest Anita Cotton, Mayor, and of course, Fleming, our city clerk, put her hand on this as well. That's it.
So are you saying Karen is going to sign her own proclamation? We
It's
so
okay.
appreciate everything you all do for us on a daily basis, and especially this year. I will have you know that I asked yesterday whether our, how many open records requests our City Hall has received this year, and it has been one every other week. And that's a lot to research. We appreciate you, and let me ask, is there a motion to approve the proclamation for the 57th
I would be honored to
annual?
move that we approve the proclamation.
Thank you, Councillor Curtis. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Jessica.
Thank you, Councillor Price. And is there any discussion?
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
and they do accept flowers and chocolates. and, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes, and May 3rd through 9th is Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Next, we consider, number 12, we consider approval of the resolution to celebrate National Police Week. That's May 11th through the 16th. And if somebody would read the resolution?
I will be glad to, Madam Mayor. A resolution to recognize National Police Week 2026. To recognize National Police Week 2026 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty by protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the City of Sky Valley, Georgia Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, there are currently more than 24,500 law enforcement officers in the United States who have made the ultimate sacrifice in being killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 38 Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13, 2026. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th through the 16th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half staff. Now, therefore, be it resolved, that the City of Sky Valley, Georgia Mayor and Council will observe May 11th to the 16th, 2026 is National Police Week in the City of Sky Valley, Georgia, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the state. So resolved this 21st day of April 2026.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution to recognize National Police Week 2026?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion?
Thank you for all you do.
Here, here.
And we've experienced the vigilance of our police officers this year in so many ways, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Chief Thomas, for a great police force. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And National Police Week has been approved. Moving on, we consider the approval of the proclamation to celebrate National Public Works Week, May 17th to May 23rd, 2026.
Madam Mayor, May seems to be the time that we do this. Last but certainly not least is we have two of our public works guys here. National Public Works Proclamation, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. Rooted in service, powered by community. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the City of Sky Valley, Georgia. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services cannot be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the City of Sky Valley, Georgia, to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now therefore be resolved, I, Benita Cotton Orr, Mayor, to hereby designate the week of May 17th, 2000 to the 23rd of 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be affixed, done at the city of Sky Valley, Georgia, this 21st day of 2026. Benita Cotton Orr, Mayor.
Thank you. And if I may add, before I ask for a vote on this, that there was baptism by fire for this new city council at the beginning of this year. And our public works folks went above and beyond, giving up weekend upon weekend and night upon night to make sure that our roads were clear and that everybody was safe in the community. And they left their own families at home to come and do that for our city. And we're so proud of you and so grateful to all of you for what.
Before y'all take the vote, because of the Clerks Week, because of the Police Appreciation Public Works, I believe we're talking Friday, it's the Friday before Memorial Day, isn't that correct, Sheriff? The city would like to do a hot dog celebration at the pavilion, invite all citizens to come in to recognize all of these great employees that we have, and information will be going out as we get closer to that time. And
Madam Mayor,
we picked that date because
Yes,
folks, most folks will be here by then.
thank you.
we routinely honor our fire and police as first responders. But in the time I've been here, I think the real first responders, day in and day out, are our public works guys. But thank you.
Thank you. And our appreciation truly goes out to all of you. Do I have a motion to approve the proclamation to celebrate National Public Works Week, the week of May 17th through the 23rd?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes. Number 14. Considering approval of the 2026 marketing agreement with Forward Raven. And we have our good friend Rick Story from Forward Raven to come up here, and we welcome you to the microphone to tell us a little about what you do for the city of Sky Valley.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And thank y'all for allowing us to be here today. Pardon my throat, the pollen is getting me, and I'm fighting that battle. But thanks so much for being here, and new council folks, we certainly want to welcome you. We appreciate your partnership. And Madam Mayor, I will be brief. I know that the time's of the essence, but for those who are maybe not familiar with Forward Raven and familiar with the partnership that we have, I guess about 7 years ago, the Raven County Board of Commissioners established Forward Raven as a unified organization. It's a three-pronged organization consisting of our Chamber of Commerce, our Development Authority, and our Tourism Authority. And it's a model that we borrowed from the University of Georgia. It's inspired by a program there called the Archway Partnership. And that model is simply based on community synergy and collaboration. You guys have been an integral part of that from day one, and we appreciate that. You helped us make it work, helped us make it succeed, and we thank you for that. We do try to approach our work both holistically and specifically. By holistically, I mean that being able to attend this meeting is very helpful to me in seeing what's going on in each city. I try to attend each council meeting as I can and see what's going on with each city, but specifically, you know, we interface with you on a couple of very specific points. I'll mention two simply in the interest of time. Those would be our marketing committee and our intergovernmental roundtable. I do have my colleague Madison Marcus here with me. Madison is our marketing director, and she can share metrics and specifics about marketing with you as appropriate, and we'll certainly take questions on that as well. But I want to take a moment, pardon me, to brag on you, Madam Mayor, and to brag on Jason for your participation in the Intergovernmental Roundtable. That is a group that we organize our mayors of all of our municipalities, our county commission chairman, and our county manager. We meet bi-monthly, and certainly you are both a part of that, and that brings so much to the table, that brings so much in collaboration. We've tried to provide a common table for y'all to be able to come, sit and participate and discuss issues of relevance and help each other. So we thank you for your participation there. Those, I think, are two of the biggest specific interfaces, as well as just the holistic things that we do community-wide, and we do try to approach our work in that manner. And I will recognize Madison, my colleague. Again, thank y'all for allowing us to be here. Madison will talk specifically about marketing, and again, we're happy to entertain any questions you have as time allows.
Thank you, Madison. Welcome.
Hey guys, super excited to be here. I've been with Ford Raven a little over a month now. Dream job, been very excited about it, especially with Sky Valley. Sharon's been super helpful to work with on things and projects. So something I wanted to share differently than I did is a bit of everything. At council's discretions, we have completely overhauled our traditional marketing strategies that we've used, and we're now starting to implement digital marketing. I have these I can hand out that kind of breaks it down a little bit more in depth. I'm going to try and be a little bit quick, but through what we're looking at, we are going to do a series of digital advertisings that highlights every single city within the county, their own dedicated series of advertising, as well as general advertising for Raven County. So with that being said, each initial city can anticipate now 6,700 to 2,600 impressions per month. That will total up to approximately 151,200 impressions over the year. These are the lower side. This is a phase one. We do plan to implement more highly developed online advertising. This is just our first initial online advertising. That is about double the reach of paper advertising. And one reason we are definitely optimizing the digital advertising over the paper advertising is we actually can get real life statistics back on if those advertising campaigns are working. With paper, you kind of put it out there and hope that people read it and hope that people find it interesting and decide to come here. With digital advertising, I'm actually able to give you the numbers of who is finding it interesting, if they're engaging with the content that we're putting out. And also, and eventually we'll be able to see if they actually came here. So really excited to start this, really excited to get it going. And then also the plan is when we get these statistics from people engaging in the ads like age, gender, geographical location, all that information will be available to us through these online ads. I can actually, my plan is to deliver those statistics specifically to the city's ads quarterly. So I will get to come to you guys every quarter and go, it is this age group, this is how much interaction you're getting, this is what it is, and we can go, do we want to continue targeting a demographic we know, or do we want to venture into new demographics and try and reach more people? So that's kind of a very loose plan of what's going on.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the council? From the council? Thank you.
I have just a general question, not necessarily for you.
Yeah.
What percentage of the revenue that we get from our hotel, motel tax and other taxes goes to forward rate?
Jason, that is 43%, I believe.
Right at 43%.
What's the rest of it?
It goes into the general fund.
Well, I'm not talking about the percentage that is available for the I'm talking about of the money that's dedicated to tourism and promotion. What percentage of that do they get?
They get 100% of that 43%. That's historically, that's what we go with.
So, Jason, would you briefly outline the agreement with Forward Raven?
George Raven County grants the city of Sky Valley hereafter Sky Valley levies an excise tax, hotel motel tax pursuant to Georgia Code at a rate of 8%, and therefore it is hereby agreed as follows. Designation of DMO pursuant to Georgia Code, the city of Sky Valley hereby designates Forward Raven Inc. as its primary destination marketing organization, DMO, an agent for the expenditure of hotel motel tax revenue. Funding commitment, the city of Sky Valley agrees to remit 8% of the total hotel motel tax collected on a monthly quarterly basis. Restricted expenditure, in accordance with state law, Forward Raven Inc. shall expend these funds exclusively for tourism, convention, and trade shows, TCT, and tourism product development, TPD, as defined by the Georgia DCA. Business alignment, Forward Raven Inc. agrees to utilize a portion of these funds to support a business marketing committee, ensuring that promotional efforts are directly aligned with the interests of the local business community and contributors. Reporting requirements, Forward Raven shall provide an annual budget plan and expense report to the city of Sky Valley to ensure compliance with the annual hotel tax report required by the state of Georgia. It would be this 21st day of April 2026, signed by Rick, representing Forward Raven, with the places for the mayor as well as the city clerk to sign.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2026 marketing agreement with Forward Raven?
I move we approve the agreement.
Do I have a second? Have a second. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to make a comment. You know, when Gordon came here the other day to talk about the budget for the local marketing department that we have in combination with the other entities here, we gave him a really hard time because we didn't believe that, the comments were that we didn't believe it was valuable marketing, and why are we spending money sending advertisements out and all of that, and yet we're falling over our heels to go ahead and give these guys much more than that. Do we think, as a committee, as a council, that the city gets its full benefit from that available tax money for Sky Valley as opposed to just Raven County in general? That's a question that I put on just to you guys.
Well,
Sorry, if I could intervene. We currently have plans specifically designed to highlight the city of Sky Valley. I'm in talks, I don't have a specific date, but Forward Raven is arranging to have a photographer come out, do drone shots, aerial footage on top of the golf course right now. So in the past, the marketing has been very generalized with a Sky Valley tagline placed on it. That is not what's going to be happening. That's why we're separating the cities, and then there's a general Raven advertising campaign. Forward Raven is dedicating its own specific plan to Sky Valley, and we're absolutely in a team mentality here. If there are things that Sky Valley would like specifically Forward Raven to do with its marketing of the city, I am a phone call away, and I want to put out exactly what the cities want to put out, because Forward Raven is going to be able to have a bigger stretch to do more.
We have an archive of articles that have been prepared by mostly golf professionals. The demographic that we've been trying to reach has been the golfing, because it's the biggest attraction we've got. And golfers have families that do all the other things that we would like to promote. So we've been hosting travel writers, golf writers, to come into Sky Valley, see what we do here, see what it's like, and then they write articles. And we believed it was cost effective to get these things published in publications that have circulation of anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000 issues going out. And so we have some of these articles that might help you. We also have an archive of professionally taken photographs to use that we haven't yet used. I think it's full potential. And Sharon is awesome at finding stuff in there. So,
Thank you. If you will hold up and get Mr. Story to give us his comment, and then we'll have Sharon.
I promise to be very brief and just to accentuate what they both said and not to inundate you with information. This is the latest copy of our travel guide that we produced, and this is actually our 3rd edition. This is actually the most requested document from state visitors per the Department of Economic Development. We do have each section here tabbed, and Sky Valley has a page. We actually, I know I'm on camera, but Sky Valley Golf Course is the one we have highlighted exclusively in this edition. So may I just share these with you?
Thank
you. Again, don't mean to inundate you with information.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to comment about Tony's comment, and I think it's a great question.
Yeah.
As I understand it, this would be, Raven Forward would be or is our primary destination for our marketing dollars. And I'm comfortable with that. I think there could be an opportunity, and you kind of mentioned this, Jim, for the committee, our marketing committee, because we don't actually have a marketing department here, but our marketing committee, along with Sharon for sure, would be a great coalition of partners to come together and share information for sure. Our marketing committee is full of awesome people. Did that kind of address, I mean,
You know, my only concern is that we have been so sort of stingy with those guys, and they have gone ahead and paid for all of the photographs that you're talking about. We've got overhead aerial videos of the place. We've got interviews with people. We've done all that on our own for all this time, while we've been giving the cash over to you guys and being very stingy with those guys. And so I was just asking whether or not we think we're getting our money's worth out of Fall and Raven. And I'm glad to see, you know, that you have recognized that we have a need and that we have an opportunity that we can share with the rest of the county. You know, so take advantage of that and get on board with us.
and that you hired Madison.
Yeah, I am.
And this is, if I may add, this is the requirement that we give money to a DMO is a legislative requirement. We're not just picking organizations to partner with willy-nilly. We are required to partner with a DMO, a direct marketing organization, and the designated for Raven County is Forward Raven.
I'd just like to comment on Mr. Aldridge's comment. For me, what I saw from Raven Forward's presentation was a switch from print to digital, which is by far a better reach and more of a detailed plan. And then she also said that we can switch, if we're looking at things, you get your metrics and marketing, you get your KPIs. And every so often you look at those and you take the underperforming ones and then you switch those. So you never leave it the same. You're always going back. So that's what I heard in that presentation that I appreciated that I didn't quite hear from our original work.
And I agree with Jesse. That was the part that intrigued me too, because, you know, all of us on the marketing committee, you know, we're old guys and we're not sure exactly how all this digital stuff works. And so if we can expand our reach by working with Raven, for Raven, that's a good thing for us, especially if you've got folks that understand this aspect of it.
It's fair to say,
Oh,
I'm watching this.
And I'm sorry, Sharon, if you would add your comment.
Yeah, Madison mentioned that she's just been at Forward Raven a little over a month. And she's doing a super job. Her position is part-time, but she puts way more into it than part-time. But I'd like to say, being a constant person in the marketing committee here, and I'm also on the marketing board there, it makes a huge difference to see the changes and the way she wants to take it. Because we did go from all print mostly. Some was digital and print, but the metrics weren't there. And now I see her plan to focus on each city. I mean, because Clayton has a lot and it's focused on a lot, but they do have much to focus on. But it's nice to see that she's gonna plan to have it spread around so that every city is highlighted.
Right. Any further discussion? No, remind, we did already have the motion on the table, did we? Thank you, and the second, all in favor? Any opposed? Jason, go ahead and bring out the check.
Rick, you and Madison would like to come forward, Madam Mayor, Council, if y'all would like to, have this photo op.
That's all right, Jason, you go ahead with
Okay,
it.
well, Rick, on behalf of the city of Scow Valley, the amount for this year is $45,386.59, which represents the portion that the city of Sky Valley provides. And it's been signed by our mayor.
Smile.
While we're here, we'll go ahead and do this. This is what you really want. Yes, so you can give it a big check.
We do thank you very much, and certainly this is what we do, but there is great value as well in the partnership. And as I said earlier, you guys have been there since day one for the formation of the organization, and we really appreciate you being a part of it, and look forward to continuing to work with you in any and every way that we can.
Thank you so
You
much.
bet. Thank you all.
That's exactly.
Moving on to other business. And this is the part where we vote to go into executive session to discuss potential litigation. And do I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss potential litigation?
So moved.
I'll say second, all in favor?
Aye.
And no action will be taken during this executive session. We'll be back. All right. Yes. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn the executive session and return to open session.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and we are now in open session. And let the record reflect that the executive session was held, the stated purpose of discussing potential litigation. Is there any motion related to the matters discussed in executive session?
No.
No, and is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And